You are listening to ChartingWealth.com for Thursday, the 17th of November, 2016. The market down for the day on the big charts. That is our two-day chart. Although our two-day candle is still a big green positive up candle. How does that happen? Well, it means we had a big day the prior day in this two-day candle. Why do we use two-day candles? Because they work for us. That's why we use the charts we use. And when we don't see them working for us, we'll stop using them. But as long as they do, we will continue to use them. So overall market as represented by IYY was down for the day 0.14%. Now if we look intraday, and again we use the Heikin Ashi candlesticks, we see there was down movement in the morning, some up movement in the afternoon. If you haven't taken our training on Heikin Ashi candlesticks, you can find that at the website, at our YouTube channel, and at iTunes. Go to chartingwealth.com for all the best and latest in our training. What do we have going on our 4-hour candle? Well, we see that it's pretty much reached the top of the chart and it's starting to move almost sideways. We still do have up movement though. We're above the two-day trend line. The weekly trend line is still going down on the total market. So got a little bit of schizophrenia going on. We will have to see if the market continues to go up. If it's powerful enough, it can actually pull the weekly trend up, and it is getting that way. It hasn't yet crossed over going up, and we won't really analyze that until and unless it occurs at the end of the week on Friday. That's the only time we really look at the weekly chart. So we have lots of strong up movement. We actually have 4 strong candles moving up, and we will continue to monitor this situation. If indeed we do see a crossover going down on this chart, we will watch and see if it's strong enough to actually pull the two-day chart over so that everything's going in parallel with the big chart. Remember, as we teach, all things being equal, the market always moves. Well, all things being equal, the market tends to move in the direction of the biggest chart. Why? Because it's the biggest wave. That's why we chart all 3 of these waves, the weekly chart, the two-day chart, and then our 4-hour chart, which is our real active chart. That's the one that tells us when to get into positions. So the next thing we'll go to is the S&P 500 on our two-day chart. Looks very similar to the total market. We've got 4 strong up candles, derivative oscillators strong, crossed over back on the 10th, going up on the two-day chart, and has continued to go up. Was a down day, 0.19%. We can look intraday if we use our 4-hour chart, and we see up movement in the morning and the afternoon. Again, we have Heikin Ashi candlesticks. We barely moved above where the market had closed the prior day. As far as our average pace for Heikin Ashi candlesticks, we got a very much parallel move on our on our PPO. Gosh, we got a lot of acronyms, which is the price percent oscillator. It's similar in every way to the MACD, the moving average convergence divergence indicator, except that the MACD uses the dollar, whereas the price percent oscillator uses percent of price, which makes it easier to compare across the board. So we see that the derivative oscillator is continuing to lose its energy, and the price percent oscillator is moving sideways, perhaps getting closer to topping off and moving down. Will this exuberance for Trump end anytime soon? We don't know, but we're continuing to monitor. We don't have a trade in the S&P at this time. We'll continue to watch. Big chart's going down. That is the weekly chart. Two-day chart is going up, and the daily and the half-day chart is going up. So again, no tradable moves there. We're going to go back to the two-day chart. We're going to check out the Qs. What's going on with the Qs? Well, it has crossed over. That is the NASDAQ 100. It has crossed over the two-day trend line. We still have a downtrend on the two-day until it crosses over, going up if it does. We also have a downtrend on our weekly chart. We did see the Qs was up for the day, 0.59%. We don't have a crossover yet. Looks like that could be getting closer because The PPO is moving toward the signal line, but it hasn't crossed yet on the 2-day chart. If we look at the 4-hour chart, what do we see? Well, we see strong up movement for 4 candles representing 2 days of movement. In fact, really strong up movement at the end of the day for the NASDAQ 100. Crossed over, actually going up just past the morning time on the 15th. So we would call that an afternoon crossover on the 15th, Tuesday. And it continued actually to move up for 2 full days. Derivative oscillator is now positive as of the morning on Wednesday the 16th. So we will continue to monitor and see just what happens. Now remember, the weekly chart's in a downtrend and the 2-day chart is in a downtrend. If we see a crossover going down on the NASDAQ 100, that would be a potential entry point into a good move. We have had movement up, and again, still not as high as the market peaked on the 9th. And of course, lots of indecision the day after the election on the 10th. So we'll continue to monitor and see. No trades yet, but again, if that 4-hour chart crosses over going down on the Qs, that might be a good entry point for you, since the daily and the 2-day and the weekly are in confirmed down moves. Lastly, we will go to gold. Gold down 0.30% for the day. Gold crossed over going down back on the 14th of November, and it has actually originally started moving down as far as candles go back on the 8th of November. And again, a down day 0.30%. If we look at the 4-hour, which is the real trading chart we use on gold, we see that the market in gold's really just slipping sideways. Now again, weekly and the 2-day are down, but gold looks like it's trying to bottom out, and our 4-day chart has been such a good one. So we'll see if it crosses over going up. Derivative oscillators losing downward momentum, and the MACD is not just moving sideways. It looks like it's moving up a little. And again, I'm using the old term that we use. The PPO is trying to move up toward the signal line. Hasn't happened yet. Watch, be careful. Let's see what occurs. And again, we are not a stock calling service. We're not a gold calling service. We are an education firm. We want you to practice with us every day. Practice this if indeed the 4-hour chart crosses over. Go ahead, go in and buy something like gold, okay, in your virtual trade, not real money. When you get good at doing this, you can make your own decisions as to how you want to spend your money. In the meantime, we want you to practice with us. That's what we're all about. And perfect practice makes perfect. The nice thing about virtual dollars is you can have as many of those as you want. You don't have to worry about losing them. It's not about pride here. It's about training and practicing. Practice and use this 4-hour chart. It has worked time and time and time again since it started working for us. It stopped working at the end of last year, and then it started again. And this 4-hour chart has just been a great one. And we will continue to use it until it doesn't work. So that's where we are as we end the day on the 16th, go into the new day, the 17th of November, Thursday, getting toward the end of that week. Thank you so much for being with us. You want to help us out? Go to iTunes, subscribe to our podcast. You guys have been kind enough to make us as high as number 6 in the world with stock market podcasts. We like those good metrics. You can help us out by subscribing and giving us a 5-star rating, saying something nice about us at iTunes. Also, YouTube. Go there and subscribe to our channel. We put out proprietary stuff there for our subscribers as soon as it's available. That includes training. That includes daily and weekly reviews. And we also would appreciate it if you would like to sign up for our newsletter at Charting Wealth. With that, you will get the daily podcast, the weekly podcast. All of those are video podcasts. In addition to that, you will get our 15-minute How to Read a Stock Chart video, the link to that. You'll also get the layout that we use at freestockcharts.com. Plus, you'll get, extremely important, the daily market worksheet. We ask you to fill that out every day. If you want to put your training into hyperdrive, you want to see results as quickly as possible, writing down what we talk about on the program every day on that daily market worksheet, keeping up with it, you will be amazed. I read an article the other day about how much different it is for the human brain to be wired, how we're wired to our hands. And I'm not talking about typing in what's happening, but literally listening and writing down using the diagrams we have there and making sure to fill that out on a daily basis. It will pay back dividends, because realize, once you get good at reading these charts, it's like having your own printing press. If you can read a stock chart and you can really figure out where these markets are going, and you learn to cut your losses, you learn to maximize your profits, you learn to lock those profits in, and you practice with these virtual trades. And once you get good and feel confident and competent and do winning trade after winning trade after winning trade practicing, then and only then can you consider using your own money. But imagine if you could do that. You could read these stock charts. Man, the world is your oyster. Riches are your oyster. So practice with us. Get good at this. Every day, 10 minutes, that's all we ask. God bless from Charting Wealth.